Let me touch on John C. Reilly for a second, because it just
Mhm.
kind of came to me. Because Riley's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But for this role, he's actually the leading man. It kind of reminds me when Steve Buscemi got the leading role in Boardwalk Empire, where
Yeah.
we had a guy who was basically always number two. You know, he was always the friend, the funny guy, just the number 2 or 3 guy. And now he's the lead.
Right.
You know, he's Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights. He's Richard Gere in Chicago. What type of things did he bring to the role as Jerry Buss? Because in a lot of ways, Jerry Buss is a lot more complicated than I thought he was.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question too. The funny thing is when you have a star of a show or somebody of that magnitude joining your, sort of shepherding your cast, being the engine of the car, it's not just what they do on screen, it's what they do off screen as well. You know, the leadership that they bring. Because everybody's galvanized and looking to that person because they're the center of the story, but they're the person who we're all sort of following in a way. And John had such a way of managing himself and being able to set an example of what a star is that, you just look on in awe and you just, it checks you in a way without checking you, if you know what I mean. It's like it makes you. I remember I worked on a movie, The Green Mile, with Tom Hanks. I was Michael Clark Duncan's stand-in, and even though we look nothing alike. And I remember the first day when Tom came in, he shook everybody's hand. He came over, he looked you in the eye, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And his demeanor was such a way that immediately you knew he was the guy without him saying he was the guy. Like you knew who he was, and he was the star and all of that kind of stuff. But the tone that he set sort of was the tone of every day of what the work was going to be. And John's that kind of guy. Like John would set a tone of what, things were going to be and how it was going to go. And he had the chops to back up the idea of the name, And so, just again, an honor to work with somebody like that because it makes you better. It makes you better. Quentin Tarantino had this, there was this reel going around that I saw the other day. And we're talking about running the 100-yard dash. That when you're running the 100-yard dash against people that you're faster than, you never get faster because you're the fastest one. But when you start to run against people who are faster than you, you have to get faster in order to be able to keep up. And so when you're working with people who are better than you or have more experience than you or whatever it is, whatever box they check that separates them, and puts them into the place that they're in, it makes you look at you in a different way to find better virtues within you as a professional. And I'll certainly say John did that for me. So eternally grateful to John as well. Great guy, great performer, just great all the way around.